Hello everyone, and welcome to a short module on the history of South America. One thing you'll notice is that this is a very abbreviated version. If you'd like more detail or more explanation, there's older videos available on my channel. So let's begin. To understand the early history of the South American continent, we actually have to go way back to 30,000 BCE, a time known as the Ice Age. No, not the movie with the silly creatures, but the actual Ice Age. During this period, Earth's temperatures drastically dropped, and as they dropped, we had a very simple process occurring. If you could imagine a cup of water sitting in your freezer, as you leave it in the freezer, an ice cube will start to form, and you'll get more and more ice and less water until eventually the entire glass is ice and the amount of water drops. Now the same thing happened on land. We had the ocean, and then under the ocean we had different levels of land, and as the ice caps in the northern and southern poles grew in size, just like in your freezer example, the water level around the world actually dropped lower and lower until eventually we had these different land bridges emerge. Between the continent of North America and Asia, in a place known as the Bering Strait, one of these land bridges occurred. There's an area of land we now know that is much higher than the surrounding land under the ocean. And so as the water level dropped, as you see in my little sketches there, this bridge of land between the two continents occurred, and animals migrated from between Asia and over this land bridge into what we now know as North America and the area around Alaska. So as animals went across into North America, we had our first settlers, human settlers, come as well, who followed herds of animals like you see in the movie Ice Age, the things like mammoths and different herding animals. They followed them hunting and looking for food themselves. The Ice Age would be a 20,000 year time in Earth's history and would end about 10,000 BCE. Around 10,000 BCE, what you had is the level of water on Earth increased, and you have the permanent separation, up until this point in history, permanent separation of North America and Afro-Eurasia. And that is how Native Americans got to the continent and then became isolated on the continent of North America. So, again, I just want to show you this. Again, the water level drops. Human beings cross over right here at the Bering Strait, this thin, narrow strait, and then they march on down into North and South America. And as they migrated, it took about another 1,000 years before people would actually, it took about 19,000 years before people actually reached the southern areas of South America. About 7,000 years ago, all of South America was settled. Now these Native Americans, as we now know them, settled all parts of the continents, the islands of the Caribbean, and they developed very unique and significant cultures. But one thing that had happened is the animal population of North and South America had pretty much been hunted into extinction. Large mammals, unless they were predators, were pretty much unheard of. So there were no horses, there were no pack animals, except for in South America with creatures like the llama. There were dogs, but there wasn't significant farming as we know it, as it occurred in Europe. So you didn't have pigs and sheep and horses living in close proximity to humans because they were not on the two continents. Now we have to actually ignore North and South America and look over at Spain. We will look at this in our next video. Make sure you took notes on the first video before moving on. If at any point you need more clarification, more explanation, or you just need to re-watch it, watch it again, or go watch